from all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays!
HTLA Radio 1 proudly presents Sex and the Kitty.
Welcome, my brave and noble meeps, to Sex and the Kitty, with your host, this intellectual Kate Taylor, on HTLA Radio 1 New York. As with all of our programming, this show is available 24/7, 365 on our website, www.htla973.com. So, if you can't join the broadcast in progress, download me and listen to me at your leisure. However you choose to listen, join me to unwind after your work week as I show you how to reclaim your most sensual selves and create the most fulfilling life you can have anytime, anywhere. Remember, Meeps, that tonight's show is sponsored by eHarmony. Don't just date, meet. And Sandals Resort, like I like to say, the place to take that someone when you meet them on eHarmony. And, of course, one of my favorites, Trojan Twister. The little something you don't want to forget to pack as you travel to Sandals with your soulmate from eHarmony. Right. Okay. I've also got to note that my opinions and those discussed here in tonight's show are my own and do not reflect the opinion of HTLA Radio 1, our advertisers, or sponsors. And as always, I love your comments and questions. This show just wouldn't be as awesome without them, so please keep sending them so I can continue to make this show about the issues and bits that you want to hear. If you'd like to get your questions or comments addressed on the air, please send email to me at ktaylor@htla973.com. Post to our show at the station's website at www.htla973.com. And or tweet me at thekitty973. Okay, late. HTL late night. We've got to love HTL late night. Okay, let's review last week just a small bit. Here on Sex and the Kitty, it's about living my belief that a satisfying sexual existence begins with the ability to infuse and elicit the most pleasurable, creativity-provoking sensations in even the most mundane of moments. And this is absolutely possible, and as Daddy likes to call it, to have a permagrin through daily life. Yes, you can. It's just not a myth. However, most of us are still reeling from the fallout of failed relationships, poor life choices, and overall standstill in how to go about making that happen. Well, I'm here to help you do just that. Change is as necessary as breath. If we do not change, we die. This death may not be of a literal sense, but of the more important sense. Our soul dies, our heart dies, and our passion for life and living itself dies. And that really kind of sucks. So most of us walk around, with these as this sensationless, desensitized feeling, kind of zombie. I mean, to me, the zombie apocalypse has already happened. We need to be out there, vibrant, colorful, everything, increased and exponentially felt, and that's really living as opposed to existing. So that's actually, what drives me to do this show every week, because I want everyone to feel like that. So we're going to continue our journey to change this week, one step at a time, together. Remember, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, please let me know. I'm always available one way or another. So this season, again, change. Last week, we talked about goals. Most of us have the talent, education, experience, and awareness to obtain those goals, but very few of us have all those components at once. And that's what leads to success and an authentic, fully enhanced experience of living, not just existing. But there's something else that is more important than all of these things. And through discussions and meetings that I've had this week, what I've really discovered is actually the cornerstone of everything is self-esteem. Now, even the greatest among us struggle with esteem in one or more areas of life, or even just a low sense of esteem in general about ourselves and with everything. Everyone has issues with this. There's no one on the face of the planet that has perfect self-esteem. If they tell you they do, they're lying. Just not true. So, you might feel wonderful overall, but there's always going to be something that's going to cause you to, feel inadequate or question your ability or whatever it is. And whatever that is going to affect everything else. So it's really critical. Self-esteem is formed in the first few years of life. Encouraging, loving, attentive parents will create a child with a healthy sense of self-esteem. But if a child grows up in a negative environment, stressed, maybe a broken home, single parent family, financial difficulties, it doesn't have to be overt and intentional. It can be just that, an unaware parent does things that, on accident creates a child that's got little self-esteem because of the environment the child's growing up in. And financial difficulty is a huge one. Parents don't mean to neglect the child's needs, but they're so concerned about survival that they don't stop to consider, how their environment is affecting this child. So it could be done innocently and inadvertently, but it's still going to lead to those self-esteem problems as they grow up, and especially into adulthood. So here's the rub, though. Our level of self-esteem colors every single decision, every view, every perception, and every ideology we hold in life. Every single one from the get-go. Not one thing that you do, think, feel, say, want, have an opinion about, none of that. It's all from your perception and your level of self-esteem, and that's it. So if you have a healthy sense of self-esteem, then you're going to look on everything in a more healthy way. And if you have a very poor sense of self-esteem, you're going to have a poorer view of everything. And that's just the way it goes, because that's the cornerstone of how we think and feel and live. To that end, this week, I'd like everyone listening to do me a favor. I think this is so critically important that I don't care how awesome you think you are. I'd like you to go to www.getesteem.com. Dr. Sorensen has created an amazing resource for repairing damaged esteem and growing strong in whatever you do today to create that tomorrow that this show hopes to see you have for yourselves. It starts, though, with admitting that things can be better and you can be better. And, there's issues that you have, whether they're big or small, they're still issues. So go there and check out this website because it's really a life changer. It's an eye-opener and it's a life changer. And please write me with your stories. Write me with your questions. If you have any, I'll do all I can to get you going in the right direction. Remember that every single passing moment is the chance to initiate the change you'd like to see in your new year and for the rest of your life. Next week, we'll talk about replacing your negative thought patterns with esteem-building positive ones. So go to the Get Esteem website, take the evaluation, and if reading that page, in particular, I'd like you to go to the page of symptoms and consequences. If that page resonates with you in any way, then please stay tuned to my show because we're going to elevate your hope, passion, and determination for the life that you deserve, that we all deserve. We're going to take our first commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to get to that fun part of the show, all that good, fun, exciting stuff. So stay with us. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
I think what it is that you don't know it until you have it. Because I heard that in the past. You always hear these people being like, oh, well, she's not right for you. You'll know. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, you'll know. Well, this is what they were talking about.
When I first heard him on the phone, I thought he was really sexy.
I love this girl to death, and Anne-Marie changed my life because I was going in 100 different directions.
It is easy to be with Lee. It's easy to love him.
She is extremely happy, lighthearted, doesn't let things get to her, and I learned from that, and I'm jealous of that, but she's bringing that into my life.
I'm much more laid back and kind of go with the flow.
Me, not so much.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie allows me to be who I am. I mean, as long as I have her, that's it.
See how it feels to be matched based on compatibility. Log on and review your matches for free. eHarmony.com.
Cold, clean, iron-free. This was the water he had been searching for. Down in the hollow, where he would build his business. his recipe, staying true to the process. Growing to meet a demand that would stretch far beyond the hills of Tennessee. Quite a feat for the little man from the middle of nowhere, who knew he had something so special. He was proud to give it his name.
When whippoorwills call and evening is nigh, I hurry to my heaven. Just a turn to the right, you find a little white light will lead you to my blue.
Book now, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
From all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays.
We're back, Meeps, and you are listening to Sex and the Kitty with the intellectual Kate Taylor on HTLA Radio 1 New York. It's Friday the 13th, and this is actually one of my favorite dates. And later on, if you join us for our video webisode that we put out on the weekends, I'm going to be talking a little bit about this crazy, weird dream I had this morning. So hopefully Hubby will remind me to talk about that, because we always just, go crazy on our webisodes. It's not scripted or anything like that. So a lot of things I'd like to talk about I wind up forgetting and stuff like that. So you'll have to just tune in. Our webisodes are great. They're awesome. We love doing them. They're our favorite part of the week, actually. On to the second portion of our show. It's actually probably going to be just a smidge longer show tonight, because usually my top 10 sex list for you guys that I wrap the show up with is actually going to be a top 14 tonight. But we're on to our third segment of the show, my Kate Recommends. Now, last season, I recommended products and things like that. And, we had sponsors and advertisers, and they would send us their stuff, and we'd try it out. And it was good, and it was bad, and hubby's permanently damaged from one of them. And, so we're not doing that this year. But what I am doing is recommending activities to go along with the overall theme of, building that kind of esteem and awesome change that I'd like to see in not only your mundane everyday lives, but especially your intimate lives. And whether that's intimacy with a partner or even with yourself. Because honestly, unless you have a good intimate relationship with yourself, you can't have one with anybody else. It's just the way it goes. So every week I'm going to suggest something you can do with your partner that may be new or maybe old and forgotten. While sometimes these will be actual physically arousing things, remember that your brain is the biggest and most powerful sex organ you've got. We're actually going to talk a lot about that in this show today. Arousal begins in the mind. Then once rooted, may inflame the heart and allow you to lose inhibition and fall into the object of your desire's arms. Only lastly does true passion take place below the waist. Head, heart, and then hoo-ha. That's what I always say. Last week, I had you shop for naughty gifts for each other. For us, some new toys were purchased, and I've already taken them to them like a duck to water. And I hope my listeners have had the same result. This week, I'd like you and your partner to have a conversation. Pretty simple, right? I want you to tell each other one thing you'd like to try, do, have done to you, or learn about by Christmas Eve. And this one thing is going to be your intimate holiday gift to each other. Okay? So there's got to be something. It doesn't matter how long you've been together. There's something that, you've just waited for the right time to bring up, or you have a curiosity about, or maybe you've just seen something on a movie last week or something. Well, now you have full permission this week to have that conversation about it. And no one's off the hook. Each of you has to come up with one thing. And you're going to do it and try it by Christmas Eve. Okay? So don't forget to write me and let me know how, it's going and what your ideas were, because we're always looking for new stuff, too. All right. Now, for segment 4, reader mail, last week we didn't have any because we just launched the show. But I've been getting inundated with questions, and thank you so very much, because you know how I love it. And I wish I could personally answer all of them. And in the future, we're going to try and do more than we do now. But, since they're delicate, sensitive, anonymous kind of questions, it's not like I can just post them on the website or something. But we're going to facilitate something, because I do appreciate the response. Don't forget, you can also post